What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. Chance and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in everyone to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell, and in the background, of course, DK running the show on the sticks. In this episode, we're going to discuss the most updated and current MVP odds for the NFL and kind of just sit back in an amazement of how Lamar Jackson continues to fall down this list despite the fact that his performances are just unbelievable. So we're going to show you those odds here, Jimmy. And if you could walk the fans through these odds as they pop up on the screen, appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, Glenn, it's important to classify that to clarify, that these odds are post like the games yesterday. Today's Monday, or if you're seeing this on Tuesday, post week 7, week 8. So Tom Brady, of course, is the odds-on favorite. So
week 9? I think it was week 9.
Whatever week we're in at this point.
Yeah.
So the point being, after a lot of these guys had poor performances or did not play that are in front of Lamar Jackson is really what I was getting to. Tom Brady is the odds-on favorite, and you can make a legit argument for that, even though he might have the most stacked offense he's ever had in his life and maybe the most stacked offense in the league and an incredible defense, at least from a name perspective. So when you're talking about value to your team, I'm not going to argue that the GOAT isn't the most valuable player, as much as it pains me to say. But I really want to focus on the other guys. I think you'll agree with me, Glenn. So the second highest odds, 4-1 odds, is that Josh Allen, who just came off of a loss to the Jaguars, Josh Allen, in which they lost 9-6, Josh Allen, in which was sacked, fumbled, and intercepted by the defensive Josh Allen, all in one game, has the second best odds in the NFL. Kyler Murray, who did not play, Mighty Mouse himself, had a little bit of an ankle issue and did not play. And Glenn, I want you to interject here. Who was his backup?
Colt McCoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Colt McCoy still plays in the National Football League. In case you did not know, he is still a quarterback. And not only did he play yesterday in Kyler Murray's stead, they dominated. I mean, they absolutely dominated. Of course, James Conner stole the accolades from Colt McCoy, but the Cardinals won 31-17 on the road in San Fran against a team that was pretty desperate for a win.
Yeah.
And not just Kyler Murray was out, but also DeAndre Hopkins, their best receiver, was out. And Colt McCoy, these were his numbers yesterday, Jimbo. 22 of 26, 249 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. I mean, how can a guy that's so valuable in Kyler Murray be absent from the game, and his backup and the rest of his team completely dominate a divisional opponent on the road? So I'm not understanding. Isn't MVP, Jimmy, supposed to be the most valuable player? Right.
Value derived on a per player standpoint.
So in theory, and another way to say it is, if you take this guy away from this team, their chances of winning plummet, and they're a much worse team, right? I mean,
absolutely. And
they dominated.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's just insane. And then you keep going down the list. Matthew Stafford, who you want to talk about a stacked team. I mean, at least defensively, they're stacked. And then he's got right now, statistically, the best wide receiver in the NFL. But Matthew Stafford is coming off of a stinker last night to where they got beat by a team that was by the Tennessee Titans team that didn't have their best player in Derrick Henry. And they came out there and they put a beating on the Rams. Then you move on to Dak Prescott, who has 9-1 odds, and Matthew Stafford has 6-1, and Murley has 5-1, but 9-1 odds that Dak Prescott will be the MVP. And he got beat by two-glove Teddy, Vic Fangio, Mr. Salty himself, and the Denver Broncos, who are in the basement of the AFC West. And the Cowboys fans think they're going to the Super Bowl. Some people have thought this is the best team in the NFC, and Dak Prescott goes out there and plays terrible. They lose. And then you add to that, Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Immunized himself, didn't even play in the game this week. Like, now you could argue that like Jordan Love did show that Aaron Rodgers is extremely valuable, but the point is he didn't play. And his team still, well, they didn't play great.
No, they played like crap. The only two guys you could argue deserve, and it's, again, an argument. This isn't like I'm willing to concede these two guys.
Sure.
But the only two you could have an argument right now, in my opinion, is Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers was gone, and they looked like they missed them some Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Josh Allen, let me just go into what Josh Allen did yesterday, because I mean,
pathetic.
And I need to really set the scene here for you, because it was absolutely embarrassing. I mean, Josh Allen went in and took on a team in the Jacksonville Jaguars that most weren't even sure their coach would still be on the team. I mean, after a couple weeks ago when he missed the team playing. Anyway, the team is going absolutely nowhere. And yet the Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills had a grand total, ladies and gentlemen, of 6 points as the game was over. 6 points. They lost the game 9-6 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Allen threw the ball 47 times. He had two interceptions, 0 touchdowns, was sacked 4 times, had a QBR, Jimmy, of 26. CJ Beathard came into the game because Trevor Lawrence was injured in that game. CJ Beathard came into that game and outperformed Josh Allen. I mean, this guy had a horrendous game. How is it that he is still so far and away the odds-on favorite he's third right now, right? No, second. He's 4-1 odds. I don't understand it. And all Lamar Jackson has done is put this injury-riddled team on his back and carry them to right now number 2 in the AFC behind only the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I don't understand what this guy has to do. Another stat that I love is, Jimmy, every other team in the NFL, take the Ravens out, every other team who has gone into halftime this season with a double-digit deficit, their total record for those teams who went into halftime down by double-digit points, their total record is 4-94. The Baltimore Ravens going into halftime with a double-digit deficit, 3-1 this season. And the only reason that they are 3-1 is Lamar Jackson. How in the hell is he 13-1 odds?
Yeah, and let me add some more sprinkles to your ice cream there, Glenn, all right?
Because you said it.
Yeah.
I like sprinkles.
That's right. So a couple other sweet stats here. Lamar Jackson yesterday alone had more passing yards than Kirk Cousins and more rushing yards than Dalvin Cook. You heard of Dalvin Cook before?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. Lamar Jackson outrushed him yesterday. And we all know who Kirk Cousins is. But the fact that Kirk Cousins, Mr. Stats himself, Mr. Philip Stat Sheet, Mr. Empty Calories himself, had less passing yards than Lamar Jackson. Another stat. Lamar Jackson is leading the league in yards per completion and yards per carry. This is just getting disgusting at this point. Disgusting in two ways. That he is a one of one, that he is so unique. He's a unicorn. Any phrase you want to say. Number 2, like you said, our team is so injury riddled and he still finds a way to find himself atop the AFC North. Number 3, that he is so ridiculously underrated and disrespected by these polls and polls alike throughout, sports books. How crazy is that? I'm not a betting man, but I'm feeling good about my odds right now. I mean, I guess,
I think we should go put some shekels down on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, goodness gracious. What else can the guy do? I mean, I get it. He's had a little more turnover, like interceptions. But he's also, vastly improved his ability to push the ball down the field on a consistent basis.
Yep.
So I don't really know what else he can do.
Look,
how many other teams would be just really quickly, if Dak Prescott were our quarterback, you're telling me we wouldn't be headed for the hills right now, ready to tank?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, Dak Prescott missed last week. Cooper Rush was their quarterback. They won. He came back this week. They got smoked. The score was 30-16, but anyone watched that game, they were down 26-0 in the fourth quarter. This was a beatdown. These were 2 garbage touchdowns to save a statistic, which is why you can't just look at the stats. Because if you look at the stats, Dak Prescott was just over 50%, but he did have 2 touchdowns to just 1 pick, but those 2 touchdowns were in garbage time. He had 60-some yards passing after the third quarter was over, and his team was getting their doors blown off. I just don't understand what these – are they just simply opening the stat book? Is that all they're doing and looking
and just going like this? Are they using a Ouija board? Like, is that how this is working?
I don't understand what they're looking at. Again, the only arguments you could make is if that Tom Brady and A-Rod are above. That's the only one, and I'll argue with it. I'll sit down and we can talk. But the other guys, there's not even an argument. I mean, they stunk up the joint in games they were all expected to win, and in some cases expected to dominate. So, I mean, I can't understand it, Jimmy, and I'm glad that Lamar doesn't allow it to bother him, because if I was Lamar, it would drive me crazy.
100%. And I know you said it's not all about the stats, but I got some more sweet stats for you.
All right, let me hear it.
All right, so Lamar Jackson is the first player in NFL history with 2,000 passing yards and 600 rushing yards through 8 games of a season. Jackson is on pace for 4,694 passing yards and 1,275 rushing yards. The most rushing yards in a season with 4,500 passing yards or more is 444 by Deshaun Watson. So he would literally quadruple it, right?
Or no, three times.
Triple it. There we go. Yeah, triple it. Either way, it's a ridiculous number. You're absolutely right. I don't think a player, look, in my history, I don't think a player's ever been more disrespected than Lamar Jackson, even though he was the unanimous MVP, even though people do praise him. It's not like he's only hated on, but this is so egregious. Like, what else can the guy do? It's just crazy to me. I don't get it. You know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know on this list how far down Patrick Mahomes is.
Oh, he's probably nipping on the heels of Lamar
he's
somehow.
Probably 14-1 odds.
Drives you crazy. I mean, he's not. It's a 13-1. Come on. It's not even. I mean, he's not even in the top. What is it? He's what, 8th? I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand it.
Yeah, because look, oh man, we keep talking about this forever, but Lamar Jackson's value is so much broader, just innately in the way that he plays, or inherently in the way that he plays. In that he can control the clock. Dak Prescott, he'd be 3 and out. And then the defense is back on the field. Then, teams start to run up the scoreboard. The way that he rushes the football, the way that he can control the clock, obviously the way that he can push it down the field. He gets so creative back there. Lamar Jackson is not a perfect quarterback, but he is easily the most valuable player to the Baltimore Ravens and the most valuable player to his team in the entire NFL. I don't care what you say, on any day of the week, twice on Sunday.
No doubt about it. But let us know what you guys think. Are we overreacting? Are we missing something that should be, pointed out in this here video? I can't see it. I don't understand it. And I think Jimmy agrees. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and we will talk soon.